Hey, my name's Jake Nicholson. Welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the alarming increase in rents that we're expecting in 2026. You see, a survey's been done on thousands of landlords since the Renters' Right Act has passed, and an astonishing number of landlords are considering increasing rent this year. And this means ultimately that rents will go up, I believe, at more than 10% in 2026. So in this video, I'm going to talk about who's done this research, how many landlords are saying that they're going to increase rents. And I'd also like your feedback if you're a landlord, if you're considering increasing your rent soon, do comment below on this video. Now, before we jump into this, if you're new around here and you haven't done before, do subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We've just hit 50,000 subscribers. And by subscribing, you'll get all the latest property news, interest rate news, house price news, property investing tips, and much, much more. And let's get some views on this video. Your part is simple. All you need to do is smash like, tickle like, do something to the like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm, and that really has helped the channel grow. So thanks to everyone that does that. So who are we talking about here today? It's a company called Pegasus Insights, and they've been speaking with landlords. And I don't think this is surprising, but I think the number might surprise you a little bit. You see, since the Renters' Rights Bill, it's now law, more people are aware of it, because even when it was going through, believe it or not, a lot of landlords didn't even know what was happening. Now it's in law, you can see it in the media, and more people are aware. Maybe their accountant's given them a little reminder. I've got multiple letting agents that I have using, looking after my properties, and all of them have emailed me to make me aware of the act as well. Maybe you watch a channel like this. And so what's happened is landlords have come to the realization that, look, this potentially isn't great news, this Renters' Rights Act. And so they need to increase their costs and be a lot more selective. So here's the outcome from this insight stuff. So 81% of landlords who were surveyed said they're going to be more selective on who they rent their property to. You guys have said the same in the comments on this. It's been going on for nearly a year, hasn't it? Or maybe even longer. We've been talking about the Renters' Rights Bill, Renters Reform Act, Renters' Rights Bill, Renters' Rights Act, whatever it is. We've been talking about it for a while, and you guys have said, well, I'm just not going to rent my property to X or Y or Z. Now, in the Renters' Rights Act, you can't discriminate against people. And I don't see this very often. I've only really seen it, if I'm honest, on adverts on places like Gumtree, where you see things like, say, no DSS, no pets and stuff like that. Now, you can't advertise like that anymore. But when you get the applicant in, you can ask those questions. Of course you can. So you can say, do you have any pets? And if you've got 5 tenant as options and you don't want pets, then maybe that person with a pet is going to struggle to get the property. Now that, I think, makes it harder for people with pets, because they're going to apply to all of the properties now, not knowing which ones allow pets and which ones don't. And so they're just going to waste time applying to people that are probably never going to consider pets because they can't say it in the advert. Maybe their lease doesn't allow them to do that. And so people are going to be more selective. Now, I've done a few content videos that have been popular over the last few weeks. And one video was particularly popular where I talked about more tenants are going to get CCJs going forward. And the reason for that is, if you have a bad tenant at the moment, the fastest way to get rid of them is to use something called a Section 21, no fault eviction. You can still use that right now. And so a letting agent that I spoke to this morning in Hastings has said they've never seen anything like this. The amount of landlords that are putting in Section 21s at the moment with tenants that they're just unsure on is crazy. So what will happen when that goes is you'll have to use something called a Section 8. That takes longer, but it ultimately will end up with a tenant that gets a CCJ against them. Now, if they get a judgment against them and they didn't pay the rent, then if they pay it within 30 days, it won't show on their record. That's good for the landlord because you get your rent, right? That's what you wanted in the first place. But if for example, they don't pay that, they're going to get a CCJ. So they're now going to struggle to get a new property because it's going to show up more selective here. So when they do applications with the letting agency, they'll get a check and it will show that they've got a CCJ. That's not going to help them. And so that's going to weed out some tenants. That'll take a while to come through. A video that I made yesterday that was very popular as well was where I talked about Experian have got this really smart update. And so Experian are going to make it so your rental payments can count towards your credit rating. Right now, a credit rating goes to 999. They're going to make it go to 1,250. They're changing the rating system. Do go and watch that video. You can find it by clicking Property Accelerator and then videos, you'll see that. And in that video, I talk about how that's a benefit to the tenants because the tenants can get more of a credit rating and show that they pay the rent. So when they get a mortgage, they can show lenders that they are credit worthy and build up their credit to be even stronger. Now they have to opt in for this, which is fine, because the ones that don't opt in, they won't actually be able to, they'll be less likely to get a property because you could, without discriminating, saying, look, if you've got the new Experian credit report with your rental payments on there, then just let us know in your application. You're not discriminating against someone, but you're saying if you have got it, it's a benefit. So more people over time will opt into that, and that's where landlords can be more selective. So it's unlikely that if you've got a CCJ or a problem with your credit that you're gonna get the property. Now, what else did they survey? Well, they surveyed and 71% of landlords, this is the most important part, in the next few months are going to increase rents. And that's due to the fact that they feel there's more costs involved because of the Renters' Rights Act. Now, right now, there isn't a limit on how much that you can increase. So you could do a rental increase. Now, you can get challenged, but there isn't the system in place that there will be next year. And so rental increases now are going to be harder to be challenged by tenants than they are in a year. So that's why 71% of landlords are looking at increasing their rents right now. That is going to be not great for tenants. And that's why I'm telling you, you're going to see an influx. And that's rent's going to go up, and that's going to be a problem. Now, here's the other thing that I just mentioned. I've spoken to my agent in Hastings, and as I said, they have never seen so many Section 21s being served at the moment. I'd really like it if you're a letting agent or a estate agent or you work in that industry of some sort. Are you seeing the same? Let me know in the comments, because that would be interesting to see. And so they're saying they are seeing such an influx of Section 21s. Now, that doesn't always mean that the landlord's leaving the market. What it means is if they've got an average tenant that they think they've had problems with in the past, they're just getting rid of them now, getting rid of those difficult tenants and putting a better one in there while they still can easily before they have to keep them there. So that's interesting to see. So 71% are doing that. And another 81% feel that this is negative for private rentals. What does that mean? Well, they feel that just the rental market as a whole, the Renters' Rights Act is bad because lots of landlords are quitting. That's going to shrink the rental market. Now, for landlords, it's good because your rent's going to go up, right? That's positive. But it's not great for tenants because I talked about yesterday, a chap that commented on here said he listed his property for 48 hours in Coventry and had something like 140 applicants. That's now. That's going to get significantly worse if a ton of landlords leave in Coventry the next time he lists that property. And so this is why, for tenants, it's going to be really, really important to keep a good record, pay your rent on time, be a good tenant, because some people just don't care. And going forward, those tenants will struggle because right now, a landlord might just think, you're not a great tenant. You haven't paid on time. You've damaged my property. I just want you out quickly. Here's the Section 21. Go. Now you've got to go with the Section 8. That's now a fault eviction. Now when you go to the council, you're going to be right down the bottom of the housing list. And maybe you're going to struggle to get a property, and they're not going to put you in temporary accommodation because you've made yourself homeless. And when that happens, that's a big risk that you ultimately might end up with nowhere to live. So look, this is a bill, an act as it is now, that was meant to help tenants, but some of the outcomes are not good. I'd like to know what you think about this in the comments below. Do smash like. And last thing, we are launching a new VIP training program. By joining the waiting list, all you're doing is joining the waiting list to find out first about it. You'll get all of the details first when we launch that next week. There's been a slight delay because there's hundreds of videos, and to get them processed took way longer than we thought, but they're going up. And we want to launch it with everything in there, right? So by joining the VIP list, you're going to get notified with the best price, no obligation to buy, but you'll just find out before everybody else. So it's in the description to join the VIP list, and it's in the first comment. So do that while you're here. Do smash like, do subscribe, do check out all the other content as well on the channel, including this video right here.